My name is Jeremy Satera. I own Satera Tuning. We're a shop that specializes in modern Mopar. Anything from basic bolt-ons to monster turbo builds. Anything in between as well. So. I have been involved in the industry for 8 going on 9 years. I was fortunate to help other shops in the meantime. So before I started my own, I worked at a few others and helped them kind of take off. So I implemented a lot of business opportunities for them, help them really get their name out there, help them brand, and I was helping them come up with innovative ideas and things that were different to help change the industry. Long story short, basically, instead of allowing my ideas, my concepts to help others thrive, I thought it was best to take it on my own and put my name behind it. So, you know, I really took a big risk. I was the type of person that worked at a big corporate job, had a career set and everything, and I left that behind to pursue this dream and this idea that I could make an impact on this industry. One thing I did say that really drove it more was there was a lot of things I wanted to do differently that other shops don't do. So the fact that my name's on the wall, it allows me to run it the way I want to run it, and implement the things that I think are right and fair to both us as a shop and the consumer on the end. So that's what I'm doing. What do we do? Like mentioned originally, we do anything from basic bolt-ons all the way up to ground-up builds. Our focus here, I would say, is more so street cars that like to go to the strip is kind of what I like to tell people. So I like to push the limits of these cars to keep them on the street, but still be competitive if they go to the racetrack. So I'm not the type that I'm into putting full roll cages in and gutting them down. I like the fact of being able to say, hey, we build the car so you can drive it to the racetrack, race it, and then drive home and still enjoy it on the weekends. As far as the extent of it though, I really feel, in my opinion, that building a car that can be competitive and reliable in both requires a lot more effort to go into it. So we really have to take a step back and make sure that what we're doing doesn't take away from the daily driving experience. So that's what majority of these builds are. It allows the customer to make 1200 wheel horsepower, but still tone it down to 600, 700 and drive it every day of the week that they want to. That does require a lot of R&D and a lot of testing. So there's a lot of concepts out there. We're one of the first to implement compound boost on the Hellcat, for example. So that wasn't just easy throwing a supercharger and a turbo together and making it work. We're not the first one ever to do it, but successfully to get it to go to the racetrack drive and then, you know, drive it on the street. Took a lot of tuning and a lot of testing to make sure that everything fit and it didn't interrupt the fact that it was still a daily driven car. Customer's mindset was flexibility, which is what a lot of our customers go to, is the flexibility to make the power and also keep the comfort behind it. So another thing we developed was the flex fuel for the Mopars. We're the first one in the industry that utilizes an ethanol content sensor that adjusts the factory PCM for both timing and fuel. It's very common in the GM side, but nobody's really done it for the Mopars. There has been some attempts with inferred logic, which basically is a math equation that goes off of O2 sensors and injector data. But that isn't real world, and there's still some things that are left on the table as far as safety and power as well. Other ones out there just adjust fueling and they don't adjust spark. And on a boosted application, the full benefits of going with E85 are found in both fuel and spark. So, but yeah, everything in between. We've developed turbo kits for every platform for the Mopar, basic bolt-on packages just to maximize setups on a budget. It even developed a poacher supercharger kit for the modern 5.7 and 392 cars that our goal behind that was develop a boost-friendly package that costs the same or less than a cam install. Because the engineers did such a great job on these Mopars, they don't benefit as well from a cam install as they do boosting it. So we came out with packages that you know, compete with the price of what it takes to do that and make 150 plus horsepower gains. So like I said, we're always trying to think of ways to really benefit the customer and benefit the dollars that they put into it, because at the end of the day, these are toys for most people, and we love what we do and we're passionate about it, but we want to make sure that when people spend the money on it, that, you know, it's worthwhile for them, and at the end of the day, it's reliable and they enjoy it too. My personal car currently is a 392 2019 Charger. We use that one to finalize the development of the flex fuel. So it's the first 392 with true flex fuel on it. We developed the poacher kit with that as well. So it's a Vortex supercharger that's non-intercooled. And essentially we picked up 180 horsepower over stock with very minimal increase in intake temps, being supercharged still. So that was the goal with that one. That one, we have some continued progress coming with it too. We're gonna keep a little bit of it on the low, but we are developing a 9-second package for 392 cars. So I get asked on a daily basis, should I mod my 392 or should I trade it in on the Hellcat? And it's a very loaded question because there's a lot of goals that different individuals have with it. So that's why I have a 392 now. I had a Hellcat before, but I wanted to expand my knowledge on the 392 platform and help develop something for those customers to be competitive with the Hellcat market. So needless to say, with minimal mods to that car, we're gonna see some 9-second passes out of it this summer, utilizing our Poacher supercharger kit. Beyond the 392s, we do have a 5.7 car, one of my employees has. It's currently we did a cam swap on it just to see what a little NA competition did for it. We're going to be doing flex fuel on that in the next coming weeks and show what a 5.7 does with flex fuel. And then likewise, that poacher kit that we have is bolt on to it as well. So again, developing some packages and things out there for others beyond the Hellcat market. It seemed to kind of overtake, but I know there's a lot of customers out there that are looking for some fun with their 5.7s and 392s. So those platforms that have been our focus this winter. The Hellcats, you know, we continue to push the limits with turbo setups on those. Everybody knows I throw turbos on anything and everything that I can. So some people thought I was crazy when I said I was going to turbo a Hellcat. Fortunately, I have the best customers in the world. So we have 2 purple cars here. One of them is a compound boost setup that we threw a 76 mil turbo onto that feeds into the supercharger. Saw what the abilities were with that one. And then I have another one, same thing, purple Charger, that we threw an 88 millimeter turbo onto. That one we ended up gutting the blower due to a bearing failure. And then we really got to show what the differences would be if we keep the supercharger, if we don't. Both setups allow for an extreme amount of flexibility, especially when it comes to, like I said, a street strip car. With a turbo, you have the ability to make 1200 plus wheel horsepower or 600 by the simple control of a boost controller. Comparing that with our flex fuel, it's turned these monsters into something that's very competitive both on the street and at the strip. So we're going to continue the development with that as well. In regards to a couple other projects we got going on, I have a big special build sitting that's slowly going to be built up soon. It's going to be a paired up with Modern Muscle Extreme on this one. It's going to be a 411 stroke 392 with twin 6466 mirror image turbos. So again, we're going to show what you can do by pushing these 392 platforms a little bit. So we're going to see how far we can get the stock transmission to go before we have to swap that out. So hoping to see around 1,1300 wheel out of that one in the street application form, but that's one of the bigger builds going on right now. We also have a Jeep sitting on the other side of the shop. We threw an 82 mil turbo onto it, fender exit exhaust. That one we saw last year, but a couple things have been done on it over the last few months. That one's going for a stock motor record. So customer came to me and he basically wanted to take the record away from me that I set. So just a couple things in the pipeline that we're doing, and as far as a little bit different than any other shops. Right now, I think the biggest interest is the true flex fuel kit that I've developed. It's a daily phone call for me, is how it works, what it takes, and so on and so forth. So we're in the process of fine-tuning that even more. It turned out to be there's a lot that goes into the tuning and the development of it. It's not just a plug in and let it go type thing. It takes me a couple days to tune each car that we put that onto, but That being said, once it leaves, they can fill up on 93 pump, they can fill up on E85, put 50% in, and timing and fuel adjust on its own. So that one is going to be a continued development, and we're just going to make sure it's perfect every car that leaves. You can't get anywhere unless you fail, and a lot of people will poke fun at me, but I won't disclose the number for this, but I've had a lot of cars, and the reason I end up buying a lot of the cars that I do is to learn. I've had everything from a twin-turbo Camaro to a twin-turbo S550 Mustang, a couple turbo Jeeps, Hellcat, and one of the reasons why I go through those is so that I can learn. I feel if I'm going to, charge a service to a customer, I need to make sure that it's worthwhile. So fortunately, the failures that I've had have been on my own personal vehicles, and I keep it that way. I have no problem saying that. My 2010 Camaro, I blew the motor on. One of my Jeeps, out of the two that I had, blew the motor and trans on it real quick. And that just comes with it, and that's part of how I'm able to push the stock components, let alone once we upgrade the components as well. And there's been a couple, promotions out there that didn't take off too well. Turbo kit designs that at first they seemed great, but we've redeveloped it a couple times. So naturally, yeah, you're gonna fail. You're gonna, it's gonna happen to anybody that's pursuing something and trying to push the limits. The flex fuel, for example, I know I keep visiting that, but it's one of the fresh items. That took me over 5 years to figure out. And I've tried it on multiple vehicles of mine, and it's just one of those things where you got to keep at it. And I don't know if you really call them failures, but learning experiences, I would say more so. The beautiful thing about the automotive industry is no matter how bad you break something or no matter how bad you mess up, you can always fix it and improve it. So I've used my knowledge on my own vehicles and my own experiences, because I wasn't always a shop owner. I wasn't always involved in the industry. So the combination of both my personal experiences from other shops and my own vehicles have really allowed me to lead my business the way that I am. So of course, everybody's gonna, it's a learning lesson. You're not gonna be, nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect at all. I'll say the first one that really opened up the doors for me when it comes to the modern Mopar scene, since that's what I'm surrounded by. I wanted to help develop one of the first mail order turbo kits. So I was part of a group at the time. I'm not going to dive into too much detail on it, but from start to finish, I was just a kid that worked at a big corporate company that had a little extra time on his hands on weekends, and pairing up with a few shops, we were able to come together and make that happen. So it was changing for the industry, because at the time for the WK1G platform, there was no mail order turbo kits out. So once I started the process with the aid of a few other shops at the time that were on board to make this happen, there's now several mail order turbo kits that were out there. And that being said, that's where my foot got into the door there. And like I said, that was not under my initial name of Satera Tuning. There were things I would have done differently and things I like to do my own way, and that's part of what allowed me to grow here. But that's what got my foot in the door with the modern Mopar. So my WK1 Jeep, I set the stock motor record with. That was the only reason that I bought the car, was to set the record, and then I sold it shortly after. And I did just that. I took the record, and it still stands as of today until the one in the corner gets to the track. He's going to take it from me, but I'm fine with that. But continuing on, it's related to pushing the limits on things, turboing a Hellcat and making good power with it, drivability with it, learning how to tune it. These Hellcats and this platform, the Mopars in general, are very tricky. So learning that, a couple other accomplishments. First HP70 trans car in stock form to run a 9-second quarter mile. We held the record for a little bit, and after we did it in a shop after us took it, but to be the first to keep an HP70 trans alive with the power, that was huge. Like I said, got a couple turbo Hellcats here, making some impressive numbers. Redesigned the Jeep kit that we have to make it more efficient and improve the performance out of it. And yeah, we still offer a single turbo kit engine bay mounted for every Mopar platform. And we prefer to keep those installations in-house because it is so tedious, but to be able to do that. And then, like I said, developing a supercharger kit for the 57392 platform, and probably the most recent one I've talked about a couple times is the True Flex Fuel. That allows for maximum power, maximum reliability by still allowing to run that fuel. everybody knows that with E85 from a pump, it's unreliable, and up until recent, you haven't been able to secure the reliability and the power together. And now the fact that I can control fuel and spark with the factory computer based on the ethanol content is huge. It really opened up the doors for a lot of customers out there that were hesitant to run E85 because of that, or big power guys that have to switch their tunes multiple times. It's all in one now. So, and there's more that's going to be coming down the pipeline too. Yeah, the future for us is we're not slowing down. This industry is forever changing, both manufacturers and customer base, and we're going to continue to improve and push the limits. Only a couple of years ago, fastest Hellcats were only running 9s, and now if you look, stock motor ones are running 8s. So we're jumping on that bandwagon, and you're going to see some track testing, a lot more done from us this year. We're going on our second full year of being open, and our first year was establishing the foundation and getting the name out there. My name's been floating around for a little bit, so now I just wanted to make sure people were aware of I have my own shop now. That being said, I have a great support system for my customers, and I have a long list of customers that are looking to push the limits of their cars too. So we're going to see what type of numbers we can put down at the track. Dyno's one thing, and everybody knows that dyno sheet doesn't trap anything. So we're going to get these cars to the racetrack. We're going to enter a few more race events throughout the year. And help show that, like I said, we are about the street and the strip. So we're going to let the cars do the talking with that one. As far as development purposes here, we're ever growing. In the going on my second year now, I've expanded my team from 1 to 4. So I'm going to continue working with my guys and improve their knowledge and experience. There's a high standard that I hold with what leaves my shop, and want the confidence on anybody that sends vehicle to me to have that with no matter who works on it, as long as my name's behind it. So we're just going to continue pushing ourselves and see what more we can get out of the vehicles, and see what other products we can bring. We're just going to see what else we can get out of them this year. Yeah, I have a long list. First and foremost is my wife. She's put up with a lot. There's a big amount of sacrifice that goes into this. I always had a dream of owning my own performance shop and allowing my brother to detail out of the shop next to me, and that's what I'm doing. I have Satera Tuning and Satera Detailing as my brother. So without her stepping up and allowing me to put the extra hours in, the extra time, the weekends away from the family, the other night I was up till 11 o'clock tuning a car. So the fact that she puts up with me and that is huge, and I wouldn't be here without her. And to get the ground that I'm in now, I gotta say, Tim Barth, big shout out to him. A lot of people know we're partnered shops, and he helped lay the foundation down for me, and we're kind of tag teaming a lot of stuff that we're doing for that reason. And we got some big stuff coming as well. So, this used to be his shop, and he let me take it over. So giving me the foundation to get my name out there and get started. Mike Post, he's another shop owner. He does Fords, so no competition from him. He builds the slow cars, but same thing, man. Without his help and support, it'd be very hard to be where I'm at. So I can keep going on about family, friends, but the typical to the customers, man. It's been very flattering. I'm humbled to see my name thrown around on the internet so much, and never thought it would be something that come to light. But that's what drives me to keep going, and my dream of impacting the industry for multiple ways is coming to light, and I couldn't do it without them. If they didn't take the risk of sending their cars across the country to me. I have cars from 17 different states here right now, so it says a lot for people to not ever meet me. Some people, this might be the first time that they actually see my face too, but to trust me with their babies and send them like that, and the patience and everything with trusting what I have to offer. I couldn't do it without them either. So like I said, I'll keep it short. There's more I could go, but without those, I definitely wouldn't be where I'm at today. Package for 392 cars to compete with the cost of his, if they were to trade it in on a Hellcat. It's they do Fords. What's that? It's a 94 Mustang with the 03 Cobra swap into it. They're trying to get over 700 wheel. All right, so as I was saying, we are